On this episode of Locked On Angels, the Halos had a closed-door meeting to start this series against the Tigers. Apparently that didn't work, but it got John and I thinking, what would a closed-door meeting with manager Mike and manager John look like and sound like? We're going to share that with you. It's time to get locked on with Mike and John, and this is Locked On Angels.
You are Locked On Angels, your daily Los Angeles Angels podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Yes, it is, and yes, we are. Thanks for making Locked On Angels your first listen of the day. You can find us anywhere you get your podcast, including Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and SiriusXM by searching Locked On Angels. And if you'd like to get back to the Super Halo Bros for all the Super Halo content, here's some things that you can do. Leave us a rate and a review on Apple Podcasts. If you're watching on YouTube, hit that thumbs up button. And if you're not subscribed already, please subscribe and become a Locked On Everydayer. And whether you're watching or listening, come over to YouTube, leave a comment. It's one of the best ways to get in touch with us and be a part of the conversation. And this episode of Locked On Angels is brought to you by Game Time. You can download the Game Time app, create an account, and use our promo code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off your first purchase. What time is it? Game time.
Thanks for being here for this episode of Locked On Angels, where it's your team every day. You've got the Frisch Brothers here with you, a.k.a. the Super Halo Bros. My name is John, and that's my brother Mike.
And my name is Mike, and that's my brother John.
Hey, it's season number 3 for us here on Locked On Angels, and we're grateful to be talking Angels baseball with you every single Monday through Friday. On today's show, listen, the Angels had a closed-door meeting. They've had several over this season, and apparently it didn't work, Mike, because they have not picked up a win against the Tigers in the 2 games that they've played. So we decided, what would our closed-door meetings with the team look like? Mine's going to look like when Kramer's talking to that girlfriend. Look at you. You contribute nothing to society. That's going to be, no, I'm just kidding. That's not what mine's going to sound like. But I want it to be.
Yes.
But listen, we have to address that, of course, and we have to address last night's game. And here's the thing. We have decided, the two of us, that we are looking for what's positive here. It doesn't mean that we're trying to be homers or Halo honks or Roger Lodge, just trying to point out the good that is minuscule about this team, because there are things that we can look forward to moving forward. This season is a wash, my friends, in case you haven't figured that out. Not a run wash, but just a wash in general. And so I think it's good to look and see, all right, what can we work from here? What can we build off of here? Yeah. What can we do here? So let's talk about this loss. Angels lost 3-2 to the Tigers, their 7th game in a row. And this is not the first time that you and I have been through this. We were here for the 14 in a row of 2 years ago. Yeah. Which, by the way, Mike, maybe we can come back to this, but somebody did ask on our YouTube comments, the Angels, this was 6 in a row at the time. They're almost halfway to 14, and that was enough to get, or 12 was enough to get Joe Madden fired. So where do things stand with Ron Washington? I think that's an important question to address. So let's circle back to that, but let's recap this game.
Yeah, for sure. Here's what happened in the game last night. Canning started, and remember, he was not the starter in his last outing. He had an opener, and he came in, and they were down 5-0 immediately in the second inning. And then Canning pitched 6 innings through 77 pitches, was fantastic. So maybe he missed that. Maybe he likes being down in the first couple of innings because he struggled in this game. He gave up a 2-run home run to Spencer Torkelson in the second inning. John, I went back and looked. Since July, he gave up 5 home runs in July. He's given up 3 home runs in August. 3 of his 5 home runs in July came in the first or second inning.
Okay.
And then all 3 home runs that he gave up in August came in the first or second inning.
Makes sense. And so then they tried to have an opener. They used 2 relievers. That didn't work. And so he pitches lights out. So you're right, Mike. He can't pitch well unless he's down 3 to 5 runs, apparently.
It seems like it, right? Like I don't know what it is. I don't know if that's overcomable. Is that the yips, do you think? Do you think it's just nerves? What is that in the first couple of innings?
I love when you toss me questions. It's just that I can't answer that for you. I have no idea. I'm supposed to be insightful. This is why people come to Locked On Angels for insight. And I just don't know, Mike. And it takes a big man to admit when he doesn't know something. And I just don't know. What is it about Griffin Canning in the first couple of innings that causes him to struggle the way that he does? Yeah. And it's not even like it's a first time out thing, because in his first time out, technically it was the 3rd inning. He was fine. Yeah. And so it's not even like, oh, he's starting a game on the mound versus actually starting a game. It doesn't seem to make a difference. I just don't understand what's going on with him. The only thing he does well is he takes the ball every 5 days, which is more than we can say for what's gone on in the past. And especially for him with all of the issues he's had health-wise, at least he is putting up the innings, I guess.
Right. Now, I think that this is psychological. I do think of that. I think that. And so part of my role in real life is to stand in front of a crowd every weekend, right? And talk to that crowd for 30, 35, sometimes 40 minutes and inspire and encourage and those types of things. And you can get into a rhythm when you're in front of people and you're doing something regularly where if something happens, it can throw you off. Something happens in the crowd, if something happens in that moment, it can get stuck in your brain. In no way am I saying what I do is compared to what Griffin Canning does, but I wonder if there's something psychological about like he struggled in the first inning to start this season, and he seems like I'm gonna overthink this. I'm gonna overcompensate. I'm not gonna throw my best pitches. I want to save my best pitches for later. Because him coming in the third inning in his last start, quote unquote, and doing great tells me that there's just a psychological wall that he's got to climb over in those first 2 innings. And I haven't looked at it as a deep dive, but I guarantee you it has to do with, I don't want to throw my best pitch. I don't want to show this too soon. I'm going to get the fastball over. I don't want them to hit a home run. And I think, honestly, if you were to pull his brain and like stretch it out and tease it out. Do you remember the movie Inside Out, the first movie Inside Out at the very end where Riley bumps into the boy and then it goes into the boy's head and it's all of his emotions going, girl, 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 and everything going crazy, right? It almost seems like that's what happens in the first inning and second inning for Griffin Canning. He has no ability to calm what's happening inside of his brain. And you and I've talked about the baseball IQ and the maturity of this team, and the hitting issues is a lot of the maturing issues. I think for Griffin Canning, this is a maturing thing. This is a maturity thing, like going out there and going, I'm gonna do this one pitch at a time. I'm gonna throw my best stuff right now. I get he wants to save it for later, but I'm gonna do it right now because I got to get through these 2 innings. And once he does, it's almost like he's climbing over that psychological wall. And then the rest of the time, he's great. And that's what happened in this game last night, Johnny. He was not great in the first few innings, but then his next couple innings, he was able to get out of some really big jams.
Yeah, 4th inning, he loaded the bases with 2 outs, got Riley Green to strike out. All in all, he went 5 innings, 5 hits, 3 earned runs, 4 walks, and 4 Ks on 93 pitches. So your typical Griffin Canning start, right? And this is a start that a 5 would have. And right now, Canning is having to be a 2, really, because that's about the best the Angels have right now is Tyler Anderson leading the way, and even he's not been very good lately. Top of the 6th is when the Angels finally scored. O'Hoppe reached on an error. Mickey Moniak then hit a 2-run home run. Listen to this, Mike. He's got 39 RBIs on the year, and he had 45 total last year, so he's almost caught up to that pace.
Coming back.
Despite not playing quite as much, and despite being more of a home run hitter last year. So it's interesting to see Mickey Moniak be close to his total from last year. So at this point, it was 3-2 Tigers. The Angels offense had at least one man on base in every inning, but the 9th inning, and only turned that opportunity into runs in the 6th inning when Moniak hit that home run off Kenta Maeda, who he also had, or at least in this instance, had an opener in this one. So the Angels lose 3-2. They've lost 7 straight. Mike, I'm going to toss this to you because you probably know what I'm going to say about it, but if this is half of a 14-game losing streak, remember Joe Madden got fired at 12.
Yeah.
Why is Wash not going to be fired?
Well, because that team was supposed to win. That team was supposed to try to get to the playoffs, right? They had Trout and they had Ohtani and they have Rendon and they had, they were wired to go, and they had a really great start, and the offseason moves was to make this team a playoff team. The team right now is not a playoff team. And so the development, the evaluation of this team is very different. If they were trying to make it to the playoffs and this was happening, of course you fire Ron Washington because this is a terrible season. But they weren't. They may have said that they're going to run the West down and do all of those things. However, we know, all of us everydayers know, this was not the plan. They went into this year for development. And that's why, in my opinion, Ron Washington doesn't deserve to get fired and won't get fired.
Same. I was going to say the exact same thing, Mike.
Nice. Nice.
Yeah, at no point was this team at 27-17 like the 2022 Angels
That's
were.
right. They were 27-17 that year. Man, good grief.
They got off to such a hot start.
Yeah.
And we were so excited, too, for that. But it didn't last much longer after that. Hey, thanks for making Locked Fleeting, fickle, right? Thanks for making Locked On Angels your first listen of the day. The Angels are playing the Tigers at 10:10.
Are they?
Pacific time.
Are they?
Yeah. Well, are we at another rain delay?
Yes.
Good grief.
Yeah, right.
Can we just get that? Can we get Michigan, Detroit? Can we get them a dome, please?
Right.
I mean, good grief. It snows in March and April.
Right.
And it's pouring rain in August. So let's just get them a covered stadium, please. You can catch every pitch of the Angels hometown broadcast on SiriusXM or the SXM app. Just search Angels. Coming up on Locked On Angels, close the door because it's time for a team meeting. And I'm starting it out, Mike. I'm speaking first.
I'm ready.
And I'm not going to scare anybody off. I promise. All right. We'll talk about all of that coming right up.
Locked On Angels is brought to you by Liquid IV. You can get hydrated and stay hydrated with electrolytes, essential vitamins, and clinically tested nutrients from the #1 powered hydration brand in America. It's Liquid IV. The Frisch family, my family, they love it. I love it. It's so good for me, especially in these hot days. I've come home and put it in a glass of water, and it's been great, John, because I love the flavors, by the way. I love the Rocket Pop. I love the cherry. And then my daughter, who plays basketball, she's actually been taking my Liquid IV for her benefit. And so that's what happens when you're a dad, right? You sacrifice everything. But it's been so good for her as well. And she's had some health issues. And so what's great about Liquid IV is that it's always non-GMO. It's gluten-free, vegan, dairy-free, soy-free. So Riley can take it. I can take it. I love all of the gluten, the soy, the dairy. I love all of that. And so I can handle it. But that's what I love about Liquid IV. It's for everybody, and it provides 3 times the electrolytes than the leading sports drink. In 16 ounces of water, it's going to hydrate you better than water alone. And right now, you can get Liquid IV for 20% off on your first order. Go to liquidiv.com, use our promo code MLB at checkout. Again, 20% off, liquidiv.com, MLB at checkout. Tear, pour, live more, Liquid IV.
And today's show is brought to you by our friends at Game Time. They're now an authorized ticket marketplace for Major League Baseball, which make getting tickets even faster and easier. They want to help you find all the ways you can save money on your tickets with last-minute deals on tickets. You can save up to 60% off all kinds of events, exclusive in-app flash deals on select seats ahead of the game or the event, zone deals, which are a great option as well. You can choose a section, and then they choose the seats for you. So there's all kinds of way to save money when you buy tickets on Game Time. They have all-in pricing, shows the total up front, no surprises, no hidden fees, nothing like that. They have the lowest price guarantee. So if you find better tickets, Game Time's going to credit you 110% of the difference. Plus, you get Game Time ticket coverage with every purchase. So your purchase is covered with the most flexible customer service policy in the ticketing industry. So download the Game Time app today. Use our promo code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off your first purchase. That's LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off your first purchase. What time is it? Game time.
It's the Locked On Podcast Network, and this is Locked On Angels, where it's your team every day. And we are inviting you to the Angels All-Star Bowl. This event's put on by Logan O'Hoppe and his teammates, and the goal is to raise some funds for a great organization called Corey's Promise. It's a nonprofit organization that helps offset the financial burden of families who are enduring the battle with cancer. Their children are facing cancer, and this is going to help with those bills. It's such a great, great deal. You can come hang with us on Saturday, October 5th at Cal Bowl in Lakewood from 1 to 4. We're bowling together, and we're supporting a great cause. Plus, some of the Angels are going to be there, including Logan O'Hoppe. They're going to bowl with us. Super Halo Bros are going to be there. We even heard that Andrew from Angels Top Plays is going to be there. So grab your tickets by clicking the link in the show description. And when you do, when you're checking out, use our promo code BROS at checkout. That's BROS, BROS at checkout. You're going to get $50 off your ticket. You're welcome. We're honored to be a part of this incredible event, and we would love our fellow Angel fans and everydayers to join us on October 5th.
Hey, Mike, now that we've gotten past this game and we know the Angels have lost 7 in a row, they had that closed door meeting before these last 2 losses. And, we say, did it work? Well, I mean, we don't know what was said but
Sure.
they called it a come to Jesus meeting, which often means that, like, you got to make some changes, pal.
Yep.
So
Time to get right.
Yeah, time to get right. Right. And so we asked ourselves, if we could be in charge of having a closed door meeting with this team, what would we say?
Yeah.
And so I put my version of a meeting up, and you've got your version of a meeting. So I'd love to share what I would say to the Halos in a closed door meeting. And
Closing
again,
the door, everybody sit down, pay attention,
gather around. Yeah, this takes me back to my teaching days.
Yeah,
or even my youth group days, right?
No anxiety.
That's right. Mike, I'm going to have 3 points here. I would love to share a point with you and have you respond to each one.
Got it.
So my first point is I would tell these guys, you need to read the room. Ask yourselves constantly, what does this team need right now in this moment? A walk, a sacrifice fly, a ground out to move that runner to third. I will try to hit it, but what does this team need right now? I want these guys to lock in every at bat before their own at bat. So when you're standing in the on deck circle, when you're standing on the top step of the dugout, I need you to lock in on what's going on in that at bat. I want you to tell me the final count of that at bat that just happened, because I want you paying that much attention.
Yeah.
If you watch a pitcher struggle to locate, then what's your response? It should be patience. If you watch a pitcher throwing to the middle of the zone on pitch 1, are you taking? Are you hacking? Your answer shouldn't be taking or hacking. Your answer should be, well, it depends on what just happened on the at-bat before me. So trick question right there. But I need these guys to adjust when they're at the plate, and they adjust based on what just happened in the at-bat before them, who's on the mound, what they're doing to get us out. And are you mad about the umpiring? Because you need to adjust to that too. I understand that you might have a great understanding of the zone. You might even be right. But the problem is it's 2024. The rules haven't changed. There's a human element to this human game, and umpires are going to make mistakes, and they're going to make egregious mistakes. But that doesn't matter. If the zone is 6 feet in front of you as a right-handed hitter, and that doesn't make any sense in the world, I need you to adjust to that. So that's my first point, is read the room, understand the situation, and understand how this game is playing out in front of you. What do you say?
It's so important because they haven't done that. At least they haven't shown to be able to do that. There have been moments where they have that explosive offensive game where we're like, who is this team and where did they come from? And John, it's because they're doing all the things that you said that they should do. And it seems like for some reason that they just can't do that consistently. And so I love that that's your first point for the team.
Yeah, they fall into these patterns and they don't adjust. And Mike, the games that we've seen them be successful are the games where they adjust.
Yeah.
And I think a big part of the reason why they're struggling, and this goes for the young guys, so my second point is for the young guys, don't be the hero.
Yeah.
I would remind these young guys that you are one part of a 26-part machine, a 26-man team, and you have one role. Your one role is to hit at the plate, and your one role is to play on the field. And we put you where you are because we trust you to do that one job. We're not asking you to do a bunch of different things. We're asking you to do one job. Everyone likes to be a hero, and there can be moments where you are a hero, but the truth is all 26 guys have the same opportunity to be a hero as you do. I'm speaking to the young guys here. Not everyone is Mike Trout. Mike Trout earned his status as the guy you want up in a big moment to be a hero.
Right.
But that's because he was one part of a 26-piece machine. And he did that for years. And he certainly had his moments. But they're not there yet. And I need them to do one job, one role, and stick to that one thing that they do well every time they come up to the plate or every time they go out to the field.
Yeah. Know your role, shut your mouth, right? the Rock said that. And what I love about this, John, is it allows them to be themselves. I love that encouragement because they have struggled in those big moments where they have runners on. Suddenly they're trying to be, Mike Trout. Suddenly they're trying to be the big hitter. And the encouragement is, no. You do what you do. Do that well. Don't try to be this guy. I need you to swing the bat, swing level, make contact, those types of things. Don't go and try to do hero ball, because hero ball never works for those guys, especially who are not heroes yet, right?
Take last night, you get a rare these days Tony Two-Bagger with 2 outs. He gets on second.
Yeah.
And Logan O'Hoppe strikes out, and he's overmatched, Mike. And to me, did you say this yesterday? It's watching them foul things back or just swing through really hard stuff that shows me that they're late.
Yep.
And their timing is off.
Yep.
And when you're late against a fastball like the ones that we saw from like Logan O'Hoppe seeing last night, it shows me that you're taking a huge hack and you're winding up and you're gearing up to hit this ball as hard as you can. I don't want that.
Yeah.
I want to double from you going the other way, right? So that Tony can take his slow butt home and score a run on Logan's hit.
Yeah.
But that didn't happen. And it just goes to show that I think they try to play hero ball way too many times. Now,
I agree.
My third point is for the veterans on this team. So I'm talking to the Drurys, the Tony Two-Baggers, even Ward, right? Because he's an older guy now. Look around you at the young players on this team. The best thing that you can do is lead by example. And the fact of the matter is, if you want to earn your paycheck, the best thing that you can do for your employer, who you signed a contract with, is to play like all of this still matters. I know we're out of the race. I know that we're not going to the playoffs and everybody's going to be in Cancun in October like it's been for the last 10 years. But the best thing that you can do is play like this still matters. The other best thing that you can do is for your next job is to play like this still matters,
right?
Because some of you guys won't be here. And the best thing you can do for these young guys is to play like this still matters because it still matters to them. They have a long career ahead of them. You were in their shoes once. You would want the guys in the locker room to play like this matters. And I know that it probably does matter to some of these veterans, but quite honestly, the performance on the field, I just don't know how you can justify that and say that this matters to you when you play the way that you've been playing.
Right.
And I'd be honest, Mike, I'd be honest and I would be real and I would say that because the way you guys look out there sometimes doesn't look like any of this matters to you when you've got O'Hoppe and Shawnuel and Neto and Ben Joy, like all those guys want this to matter. They want it to be meaningful. You shouldn't let this game matter more to them than it does to you, especially as a veteran. They should not outmatter your matter, if you know what I'm saying.
Yeah. There's a great phrase that says how you finish will be how you start. And that's where I think the Angels need to have their veterans be reminded of that idea, of that characteristic. How they finish this season will be how they'll start next season. Like to think that you're just going to pick it right back up and be a different player next year. Like you need to carry over the momentum, and you need to carry over not just momentum on the field, but momentum in the clubhouse. And so that's where these veterans need to rise up. You and I've talked a lot about like how much veteran presence do you need on the team? And there was some pushback in the comments, and I saw the pushback, and I hear you everydayers, but here's the reality. Like veteran presence is good, but veteran performance is better, and they leading the way here. And the veterans just haven't done that. And Anthony Rendon is the big example of that, making all the money that he's making. And the guy can't even get it out of the infield, right? The guy can't even hit it over the wall. And so that's the tension that this team is riding. And it does look like they're just out there playing slow pitch softball on a Saturday night. And they're a bunch of old dudes. Afterwards, we're going to grab a couple of beers and have a cigar, right? That's what it feels like, when in reality, there has to be some urgency. I get you're out of the race, but you're a baseball player. This is a privilege to play. Act like it.
Yeah. And those stats are going to be on the back of your baseball card for the rest of your life. So like you said, it's how you finish is how you start. Right. And so I think that that's an important phrase. This, I'm glad I was able to keep it reasonable and not the airing of grievances like Frank Costanza. I got a lot of problems with you people.
Yeah.
And now you're going to hear about it.
Locked On Angels is brought to you by Prize Picks. It's America's #1 daily fantasy sports app with over 5 million active members. And unlike Unlike other apps, Prize Picks lets you just play against the numbers. All you got to do is pick more or less 2 to 6 player stat projections and watch the winnings roll in.
You don't even have to read like Mike.
No.
You can just look at numbers and pick up or down.
I was coughing. Leave me alone. All right. So sign up today and you get $50 instantly when you play $5. You don't even need to win. Speaking of not winning or reading, you don't even need to win with Prize Picks, and they're going to give you $50 bonus. Super fantastic, guaranteed. And then starting in September, Prize Picks has a bonus for you. 1 Caleb Williams passing yard gets you 1 win on Prize Picks every week in September. So Caleb Williams, drafted number 1, playing for the Chicago Bears. If he gets 1 yard in the game, it's an automatic win for you. So like John said on the show previously, you're going to want to take the over on that one. He's going to get more than 1 yard. That's a gimme. That's so easy. All you got to do is sign up for Prize Picks. Don't miss out on that deal. When you do download Prize Picks, make sure that you use our promo code LOCKEDONMLB. They're going to give you a first deposit match of up to $100. Prize Picks, run your game.
Mike, I know you're an angry person. I know you like to yell and scream. So I'm really looking forward to what your closed door meeting would say. No, you're nothing like that. So I'm actually interested because, you lead an organization. And so I feel like you probably have some qualities that you would bring to the table if you were the manager and you had a closed door meeting with this team. What would you say?
Yeah, I love what you had to say. I think I would incorporate all of those pieces, but I want to start like a little bit higher up. There's 2 kinds of ways to lead. There's command and control, or there's trust and inspire. The leader who is commanding and controlling can be a lid for the organization. The one who is leading with trust and inspire creates the opportunity for more for the people that they're leading. And the org that I lead, I really try to live in the trust and inspire way to lead.
You said, command and control was the phrase you used. That sounds like Phil Nevin. Me.
Oh, yeah.
and I think we saw a lot of that in the year and a half that he had as the manager.
Absolutely. I think trust and inspire is more of what Ron Washington is, but that doesn't mean that there's not strategy. That doesn't mean there's not boundaries.
Right.
That doesn't mean that there's not a playground to play in and metrics to follow. And so I wouldn't share a speech that would start with or incorporate the phrase, "What the heck, guys?" Because my speech would be a reminder of 2 specific things: who they are and how they got here. You're a baseball player and you got here, and you're not doing what it is that you do well, and you're not doing what it is that got you here. I would focus on the hard work off of the field that isn't translating to the work on the field. And the reason why I would focus on that, John, is because it's not happening on the field, right? Base running's terrible. Defense is terrible. At-bats are terrible. That's not what got you here.
Yeah.
What got you here was your ability, and you're talented. That's what got you here. And so I would really emphasize and prioritize working on the little things. In fact, I would even submit to you, John, that I wouldn't need a closed door meeting where I would have to let the expletives fly with these guys and be angry with them, because I would have regular conversations with my coaches, talking to my players. And I would emphasize, it's the little thing, guys. It's the little things that you do. If you're not doing the little things, then we're going to work on the little things, because we're struggling, and the Angels are struggling right now because they have not prioritized the discipline of the little things off the field.
How frustrating must it be to spend all this time practicing and doing these drills and doing all the things that they do, and then carry none of that over, between the lines and when the game starts? I mean, that's got to be frustrating for the coaching staff, but more importantly, the players.
Yep.
You are wasting your time if none of what you learned in practice or drills or what have you is carrying over into when it matters. And that's a lot of what we see right now.
So I would prioritize 3 specific conversations, John. It would include the young guys, the veterans, and the coaches. I would start with the young guys and just remind them, do what you know, because that's what got you here. Do what you know, because that's what got you here. Do those little disciplines. Take time to do that. And then I would actually bring a solution to the table, right? I'm high trust and I let people run. It's not time in, it's metrics, what it is that you do that actually when you perform. But if you're not performing, then you know me, you've worked with me. I'm going to rein in the details. I'm going to rein in everything and say, we're going to do this then, because you've shown me that you can't discipline yourself to do that.
Not with me though, obviously.
Never.
You didn't ever had to do that with me. No.
Never with you. You didn't hang around long enough to hang out and do that. Second thing is I would talk to the vets, John, and I would say, be for this team what you needed when you were young. Be that guy. Because if you're not going to be that guy, we don't have those guys. And these young guys are going to have to be what they're not. And Zach Neto is not the veteran presence. Zach Neto is not going to be that. One day he will, but don't make him be that now. Right. And that's part of the tension of this team. You're asking these young guys to do the thing that the older guys need to do. Right. And then the final thing I would say is to the coaches, create a plan and execute the plan that helps these players do the little things. Constantly do the little things. I know it's August. It's the dog days. You're tired. I know you need time off. I would want to manage that well, but these guys are not doing the little things, and it's evident because it's not happening on the field, Johnny. And then I would finish the conversation with just a reminder that I don't think I would need a rah-rah speech like this. These come to Jesus meetings, right? I think that I would be able to, with the team, with the coaches, create a culture where these things are always emphasized. And I know Ron's trying to figure some things out. I get that. He's a lot more experienced than I am. And perhaps he's doing some of these things. But then because you're not seeing it, I would rein it in, man. I wouldn't go to command and control. I would still move with trust and inspire. But trust and inspire includes strategy. It includes details. It includes metrics. I would rein it in. And with the players and with the coaches, I would say, here's what we're going to be working on, because it's not happening on the field. And when I start seeing it happen on the field, then we won't have to continue to do blood, sweat, and tear drills to make sure that it's happening on the field moving forward.
Right. Okay, I have a question for you, because you said I would create a culture where the little things are always emphasized. Would it be absurd to, I don't know, when somebody makes the easy play from second to first and on a ground out, that everybody goes crazy? Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, one, I think that that's silly, but two, I think that deflates this tense stiffness, this tension that these guys are carrying. Like, you know, I know how you lead, and you know how I've led, and I think that there's something to, like, if we're going to emphasize the little things, like, let's celebrate the little things. What do you think?
So what I would say is, what you celebrate is what's going to get repeated. Yeah. Right. And so you celebrate that, you're going to repeat that. There was a quick story when my daughter was playing basketball on the freshman team. They had a really tough game against one of the rivals, and they lost on a last second basket, and they were up in that game. And at the end of those games, is high school basketball, girls high school basketball, they do the line, they high five, good game, right? They do the rah, 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 good, go team, go type of thing. And there was one girl on the bench who was in tears, really upset, frustrated that they lost, that they had the lead. This is a rival. And the coach at the time, his name was Paul, love this guy. He walked over, bent down in front of her, and he said, knock it off. You're not going to cry. You're going to get in that line, and you're going to show good sportsmanship, because this is who we are, right? And I loved that. And what he was doing is, in a way, teaching them, we're going to prioritize what we're going to celebrate. What we celebrate is, we're classy, we're sporty, we're gonna win with grace, and we're gonna lose with honor, right? And so he was like, you're not doing this. You're gonna get in that line, and we're gonna do that. And then he mentioned, like, this is who we are. So whatever you celebrate will be repeated. And so I'm down for every home run, lining up like they do in Little League, and getting around home plate, right? I'm down for every good play. They're up, and they're cheering, and they're celebrating. That needs to happen, and that needs to happen more often with this team.
Hey, thanks for making Locked On Angels your first listen of the day. For your second listen today, enjoy the Locked On MLB podcast with our pal Sully. He's going to get you ready for the playoffs, the MVP races, the Cy Young talk. It's all covered every single day on Locked On MLB. It's part of the Locked On Podcast Network, where it's your team every day.
You can follow us on Twitter, Locked On Angels, and on Twitter and Instagram at Super Halo Bros. We would love to hear from you, because tomorrow, Johnny, is Fan Mail Friday. I know we just did Talk to Me Tuesday, but we need to get it out. So let's talk about it. So you can message us, comment below, send us a DM. We would love to hear from you. Your thoughts. What would your meeting be like? That's what we would love to hear. What would you say? What would you emphasize? Would you yell? I would love to know if there are yellers that are everydayers. So let us know. Fan Mail Friday tomorrow on Locked On Angels.
Looking forward to that conversation. And we'll be recapping today's game against the Tigers as well. If it happens on time, we'll recap that for you as well. So until then, my name is John, and that's my brother Mike.
And my name is Mike, and that's my brother John.
Thanks for being here with us, everybody, and we'll see you back here on Friday.
Whew.
Rant.
That was a good meet. That was a good meeting.
Good meeting.
This was a good talk.
This could have been an email.